I would just like an explanation as to what about this says luxury apartment.
I know it's not just Milwaukee, but all of these cities putting up all these high-rise buildings so that all of these developers can get, tax write-offs or whatever it is, because they can claim it as a loss because no one's living there, because no one can pay $2,200 a month for a studio.
Luxury apartments really are the biggest scam. Luxury apartment in general has always been my dream. So now that I'm finally here, I'm just realizing how much of a scam I was sold.
Random, but has anyone ever had a good experience living in one of these like luxury apartments? Like ever? I know probably 30 people who individually have moved into one of these. You know what I'm talking about? Like they have this like stupid fake hardwood floor, quartz countertop, really nice amenities. They need to have the people who work these leasing offices run presidential campaigns, because I don't know how they keep selling people on these nightmares.
That's not happening. Tell me why 1 month, if we go month to month, is $5,400. $5,400. That's insane. That is insane. They are on crack.
We're talking about luxury apartments. Are they worth it? Is this a scam? Is it not? And when is it probably a good idea and when is it probably not? What is the new trend of luxury apartments? Let's look at this. Are you really getting luxury or are you getting the wool pulled over your eyes? Let's check this out.
I moved into a place that I can't afford and now I'm stuck. I recently moved into a luxury apartment, and though it is nice and I like it and all these other things, I realized that I can't afford it. And when I say I can't afford it, it does not mean I can't pay for it. Like I have enough money to pay for it as far as money's in my bank account. But as far as like what I want to do in life, I can't really afford it. In a sense of now I'm in a position where it's like I'm here and I pay so much in rent. It's to the point where it's like I can't even go on a trip right now. Like I can't, and I haven't traveled in a while, and I'm very big on traveling. Like I'm very big on going out and stuff like that. And I can't really do it as much as I would like to because it's like I can't afford it.
I would just like an explanation as to what about this says luxury apartment.
Part 2 of these fake luxury apartments. What the is this? What the is this? This ain't luxury.
This is an example of how everything's here. These Timu apartments have a fake balcony. Doesn't even have a bottom. You can't even put a plant at the bottom of that. Versus these older apartments.
What? That's a new one on me. As a real estate agent, somebody who looks at a lot of properties, fake balconies, that's a new one. That's a new one. They don't have them here. I will admit that. But this kind of stuff is what they do to increase rent. They are looking for a multiplier to get more from you for rent, increase the cap rate on the property, shove it into a giant portfolio, and sell it to a larger hedge fund. That's how you make money in commercial real estate. It's all about ROI, cash flow, NOI. It's about these big clicker numbers to get more. And they usually do that with, we have this pool so we can get another $100 a month. We have this gym. And as we shift in society of not owning anything, we want somebody else to take care of our problems, so we're willing to pay up on some of these things. And it's kind of this idea of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. But if it fits your lifestyle, like you're young, you're on the move a lot, you're only going to stay there a year, you don't really know what you're going to do in life, well, a luxury apartment could be an idea. But just understand that everything you do and everything you rent that has a extravagance to it, you're going to pay for it. It's the number one robber of young people's, income as they're young, right there with credit cards, because you're overpaying for your housing expense. You feel like you got a little money in your pocket and you're giving it away every month. That's just not how I got to where I am today. I did the opposite. I mean, for a luxury apartment, you should be getting things that allow you to take your life to the next level. It's either noise proof, or there's some element of an extra carport, or you're close to downtown, your walkability to your job, you're trying to get to those bars, you're trying to be part of the atmosphere. Like, I wanted to live downtown Austin because I just walked outside the apartment and my world was right there in front of me. But when you are in a small little town and there's none of that, and there's no walkability, and there's no ability to have nice food restaurants around you, I'm not going for the luxury apartment. If I have to drive, I'm not going for the luxury apartment. I mean, I just get a regular apartment. But I made all my money in real estate and owning real estate. I never believed in really renting real estate unless it was at a discount and it was considerably cheaper than buying, and I knew I wasn't going to If I knew I was going to be there a while, I'm going to buy. If I'm not, then I'm not. So that's just my theory on that.
Apartments really are the biggest scam. Free apartment in general has always been my dream. So now that I'm finally here, I'm just realizing how much of a scam I was sold. They can have it back at this point. It's all cheap materials, cheaply thrown together, and then you pay high rent for it. I'm just like, what? They're supposed to be like soft closed drawers, but they don't ever close fully aligned. Like you see how that, like, just cheaply thrown together. You know what I mean? Like, what? Yes, it's so nice having a key fob. We've been here for 2 months and the key fob is now dead and they have to send someone out to replace it and reprogram it now. So we don't have a key fob. This is going on with the wall. I don't really know what that, they didn't really know what it is either. Someone was supposed to come fix it. That has been about a week ago and no one's been here to fix it. Really in the bedroom, just ruined floors. Really just small things like, why is the fridge not aligned? Be bamboozled into feeling like you need a luxury apartment because in reality, your old apartment that you're paying way less for is probably put together a lot better than these luxury apartments.
They put your living room in your kitchen, called it open concept, and convinced you all that that's actually nice, that that's actually luxury. That's a practical design and you should want it for your house too. They did that so they could sell you less house for more money, and you all ate it up. The open concept floor plan is hideous, and that is a hill I'm willing to die on.
I have also seen people starting to...
I have been saying this for a very long time. It just cut down the cost of building the property because there's fewer things in the property. The finishing of the property, you don't have to do the interior walls. You can put all the plumbing in one spot. It just allows for so much. And then you got to sit there and stare at each other. I like the extra rooms. I like being able to get away, a little quiet time, a little office space, a little reading room. I don't want to be in this middle of this everything. And then you got to keep the whole house clean or the whole apartment clean at one time. You don't have that space you can stuff things away. It's a thing, okay? And I think we were sold a bill of goods on this. HGTV really did it. It was kind of like when they came out with acoustic ceilings. There's no acoustic ceilings. They just sprayed it with that stuff so they didn't have to do all the finishing work, which is really expensive and time consuming.
I know it's not just Milwaukee, but all of these cities putting up all these high-rise buildings so that all of these developers can get, you know, tax write-offs or whatever it is because they can claim it as a loss because no one's living there, because no one can pay $2,200 a month for a studio.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. There is a lot of condo, like, not fraud, but foreign investors buy it. They put their money in the United States. They just leave it vacant because the tenant cost would be too much, the turnover. But it's really more about the city wants it because they think they're going to get a lot of tax revenue with some of these high rises. And they can fit a lot of people in one downtown district. There's a lot to do with zoning. I despise how zoning is done, and most of the time it's for this type of stuff. Just come look at my little town here in Florida. Like, they're sticking condos and apartment buildings everywhere they can, and the lot sizes are tiny. And a lot to do with condos. You know, on the beach, you got the sewer problems, the electrical problems, you got a lot of zoning problems. And there's a lot to do with what she was saying too.
Oh, when I say I pay for rent, I pay for rent, if you know what I mean. I just moved from a 2-bedroom unit to a 1-bedroom unit after my roommate decided to move home. We used to have this running joke of like, things wrong with my luxury apartment. Like silly things like, oh, the blinds aren't automatic. But y'all, I just moved in. Let me tell you actual wrong things with my luxury apartment. We'll start off simple, but we turn on the light and only one side works. Oh, I'd love to do the dishes. Oh, that's as far as it comes out. Yeah. It's been a hassle. You know, I thought this kind of looked a little janky, but, you know, I was putting my stuff away and oh my goodness. She missing. I be slipping and sliding every time. This is the worst one. I can't shower. This is what it looks like. Also, I was trying to turn the shower on and
looks like there's a lot of lack of maintenance in that apartment complex. One thing, when you're looking for a landlord, you want one that does maintenance. Maintenance deferred down the road will cost a landlord a ton of money. And they all want to do it, but it just comes back to get them in the end. I know that the maintenance costs a lot and the running costs of a building, but that's a lot of deferred maintenance going on there.
All right, so after living in a luxury apartment for over a year, I've decided to move back into a post-war apartment. And that is because I am not noticing a difference in the quality. Of course, the luxury apartment has like those like more like glitzy finishes. and it's more like IKEA with the granite tops, but I'm like, the quality in what I'm receiving has actually been worse than what I was receiving in a post-war apartment. Example A being that my walls are so thin that I could hear every sneeze, every fart, every cough. And when I lived in a post-war apartment, I was like, I couldn't hear nothing. Like, the insulation was very, very, very good.
And that
Why is it that whenever somebody says they want to live in a condo or a luxury apartment, the first thing people say is, oh, you pay all that money? Why would you pay all that money when you could just get a house and pay much less? The reason why people like to live in condos and luxury apartments is because they want a life of convenience. Yes, they are aware it's expensive. They are paying the extra money for the convenience. They have a gym, they have a laundromat, they have a doorman. They don't have to go outside and shovel the snow. They don't have to rake the leaves. They don't have to deal with any of those things. They don't care that it's extra money.
Yeah, I was perfectly fine with spending $3,500 a month with a roommate, so that would have been $6,000 a month on First Street in Austin. And you walk out your door and it's college football season and all the bars are going and it's amazing and there's bats flying over the little bridge and it's like amazing downtown Austin. But not if it's none of that. Okay, you're going to pay up for a reason. You're going to live there for a little while. You're going to live it up and you're going to move on out.
Random, but has anyone ever had a good experience living in one of these like luxury apartments? Like ever? I know probably 30 people who individually have moved into one of these. You know what I'm talking about? Like they have this like stupid fake hardwood floor, quartz countertop, really nice amenities. They need to have the people who work these leasing offices run presidential campaigns because I don't know how they keep selling people on these nightmares. Single person I've talked to who moves into one of these, they're so excited at first. 3 or 4 months in, they're like, this is the worst decision I've ever made. I cannot wait to get out of here. Or like, and it's always like for a different reason. Most of the time, they're way too effing expensive. Whatever you think you're gonna pay for one of these, tack on $300, $400, $500 for just like crazy random charges. Usually what happens is like the rent price is your like max budget. So you spend a little time like mentally adjusting to like, okay, I could pay that much. And then by the time you're like invested, they're like, oh, it's actually $200 extra for this, $70 for parking. Before you know what you're doing, you're like signing the lease. The other thing is that these are branded as luxury and they're just not. The way they sell it, they're like, there's a pool, there's a gym. You're like, yes, I'll constantly be like laying out at the pool. And then you never do.
Not to mention, it's very hard to prove like you've been baited and switched. Like, what's the definition of luxury? Okay, comment down below if you know the definition of luxury, because it's really hard to put your finger on, and it's just a word that they can get a little more rent for. All they got to do is, you know, do the bare minimums, because like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th year of an apartment complex is when you see its true colors, because that's when maintenance is coming in. That's when you've had some tenant turnover and you've had some problems, and the game room has gotten some things broken inside of it. Things to think about.
Why does nobody ever use the amenities at luxury apartments? Not a soul in sight. This is like a very cool spot to hang out. That's the Bean. Why is nobody here? Is this building like a money laundering front? I genuinely have this whole floor to myself right now. It might as well just be my penthouse. This is my living room. No one else is here. Someone come hang out with me. DM me, I'll let you in. Somebody's got to use this space.
I can't imagine.
They're too busy working to afford it. That's what it is. It's expensive. I do think, though, that a lot of the big fancy apartments in some downtown areas are money laundering. I'm like, because the lights are either on all the time and nobody's there, or they're off and nobody's there. There's nobody there. And I'm like, well, who owns this thing? And I realized that that's New York City. There's a lot of foreign money just stuck in the walls of downtown New York City, if you know what I mean by stuck in the walls, in the form of real estate.
I moved into a luxury apartment complex 4 weeks ago, so a month ago, and I've already had to put in 4 maintenance requests. I've had 1 request for every week that I've lived in this unit. The very first request was on the 2nd day that we were there. We realized we did not have any AC. It's 90 degrees every day where we live. There was no AC. Our leasing agent happily took our first month's rent and deposit, didn't even check to make sure that we had AC in the unit. It took them a week to fix our AC. We have forced air, and they gave us window units for a few days and then came back to fix it, and it took all this time. They had to dismantle a bunch of it. It was crazy. The apartment shouldn't have even been rented, and now here we are 3 more requests later for all sorts of random like the garbage disposal was overflowing and like spitting all the shit into the sink. Like, it has been kind of a nightmare. And on top of that, yesterday we all found out that people's cars have been being broken into, and there's a homeless guy that sleeps in our parking garage.
Yeah, security is a really big issue with some of these properties because it's luxury. It's where they're going to come steal stuff, and you need to make sure they have cameras, because sometimes if you have a big apartment facility, the landlord can be held responsible for the criminal things that happen there. They have to provide a safe space. In some states, not a lawyer, I'm just saying. But I'll tell you, one of my big blunders was I rented an apartment at night. And I was the only one left, and it was on the back side. I thought it was cool. I rented it. First night I moved in about 3 o'clock in the morning. I realized that the mail distribution point for the post office was right across the fence. And that happened every morning at 4 o'clock. And there was no way you could do anything about it because it was the post office. There was no noise complaints on the post office.
One thing I know for sure is you will never, ever, ever catch me living in the luxury apartment complex. I need a building that has stood the test of time. I need thick walls, high ceilings, big windows, charm, character, personality. I am not a sophomore in college. In my luxury apartment complex, there's so many things to do. We have a shared outdoor space, and they even let us use the grill if we clean it up really nicely. Oh, and there's a gym that we could go to, and they plan so many activities. We could play ping pong. It's been 74 days and people refuse to live in this Harlem apartment. So let's find out why.
I see it already. You can't even open the refrigerator door without hitting the sink.
We're immediately greeted to your kitchen, but let's step into your living room to get a better view. They decided to integrate the living room and the kitchen due to the space limitations of the apartment. As we move forward, we're going to head into your bathroom. And as I open the door, they renovated the entire bathroom so it comes with a mirror, toilet, sink, and shower. But look how limited the space is as I open up the dryer. That would never pass code here. That would never pass. They must have different codes there because the toilet's got to be a certain distance. That wouldn't fly here. To the sink. Now, as I close that up, I'm going to pan the camera angle over to the right so we could proceed into the first bedroom in the apartment. You could fit a twin in here, some dressers and wardrobes. Here's the window to the right with this immaculate view. And as we head to the left, we have your closet, which is awkwardly situated at the end of the wall, but it still serves its purpose. You could throw some stuff in there.
It's probably because they have to have a closet.
Amenities you could have in an apartment, a washer and dryer unit. As you can see, it's brand spanking
No way
new.
the
It's all
washer and
shiny.
dryer is right there in the living room area. Can you imagine watching football while trying to run the dryer at the same time? No way. I'm on Samantha all the time while I'm trying to film, and the dryer's going on here.
Inside, and it still has the box with the instruction manual. But this apartment's going for $3,000.
Insane. But are they getting it? That's my question. If they're getting it, they're getting it. But that is insane.
I know a lot of people think this is a waste of money, but I do not care to own a home. I like living in luxury apartments. And the reason I say that, I ain't in one now, I'm at my parents' house. But the reason I say that is because I don't like cutting the grass. I walk outside and the grass cut. I don't like fixing my toilet if it break. I like the fact that if my toilet break, I just type something in and somebody about to go fix it and it's already paid for. I like the fact that my neighbors are like real close. I can just walk to my room and I see different people. I might make friends. I might speak to them. You don't really get that going to your home. And I like the fact that can't nobody break in. Like my friends barely can get in when they get invited. You can't really break into a luxury apartment. You need a key. You need to know where I live. You need to be able to get in, get to the garage, and then try to get to my door. And then once you get to the door, it's hard to get.
Those are valid points. But I will say this. There is a huge difference in the amount of net worth between homeowners and renters. Okay? I'm just going to throw that out there. It's really hard to build wealth because you're not getting any equity when you are renting. Not to mention, you can take it tax-free if you've lived there 2 of the last 5 years, take that tax-free gain on that piece of real estate, and that thing is solid. That is good. $500,000 on a married couple, you can build some wealth fast. But when you're giving it all away, but if you got it, you got it. It is what it is. If you got it, you got it. Spend it.
So I just got my renewal notice from my luxury apartments. They're not luxury. They're nasty. They're dirty. They're ghetto. And apparently they're luxury. But we were going to switch to month because we wanted to leave once my man gets back from deployment in 6 months. So we wanted to move. That's not happening. Tell me why 1 month, if we go month to month, is $5,400. $5,400. That's insane. That is insane. They are on crack.
They get you like that, especially if they know you're in a military area and they know you can break the lease at any time. Vacancy is a real problem for landlords. And if they can't put somebody in there for another 12 months, that month to month becomes an issue, because then you got to plan for it to go vacant. The logistics can be tough. But I'm wondering if they told her about that at the beginning. And military people would get kind of caught up in that, because you don't know when you're going to move next. Sometimes orders get delayed, but usually you can bust out of things when you have orders, just from past experience. You got a set of orders, you can bust out of stuff. But they know when to get you. And a lot of these companies in these military towns, they know how to play the game. It's always right at BAH levels.
Have the American dream of having a massive house, tons of land. I've had that. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. This was my house back in Kentucky. Insane amount of grass. We had a pond that was insane maintenance, tons of square footage, rooms that we barely ever used. I just got off a call with a guy who has 8,000 square feet and his health is falling apart. His marriage is on the rocks because his wife is suffering. He's suffering. They're having to rip this place apart. They're having potentially millions of dollars of renovations. We grow up with this idea thinking this is the key to happiness. We're fed this through media and social media especially. This is the way to be happy and feel successful. I didn't make any more friends, any better business decisions while living in a giant house. This is not to say don't aspire to have the big house, the big dreams. I think those things are amazing. I will just encourage you to seek health. Health is the real wealth. Spend your money and time on experiences and building relationships and swimming out in the ocean and riding your bike in the woods. Those are the things that bring me the most joy.
And I tell you, I ponder with this all the time. You don't get past $1 per square foot per year for maintenance. You got to cut all that grass, or you got to pay somebody to cut all that grass. You got to get that pool cleaned, or you got to do it yourself. And when you're way out in the middle of nowhere, you're far away from the hospitals, you're far away from a steak dinner, you're far away from the things of town. And it's a trade-off. And like me and my wife, I thought about building on some land, get away from people. And I was like, you know what? I'm 45 minutes from town. I can go shoot my gun, but at the same time, I don't have anything around me that all my friends are in town. It changes your lifestyle dramatically. And I'd probably be in the same position as this guy. If the wife doesn't like it, then you're probably not going to be able to do it. But that's all I got, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below and know your thoughts. What do you think about luxury apartments? Are they a thing? Are they not a thing? Are they overplayed? Or are they not? See you guys later.